Rose-Colored Glasses by Kathy Trope. Interior apartment building, early evening. Los Angeles, 1961. From behind the battered door of an apartment, the sound of a married couple arguing. Johnny, age 15, slips out unnoticed, closing the door quietly behind him. He's wearing jeans and a battered leather jacket that's too big for him, with his hair slicked back but a rebellious tuft sticking up in the back. Trying to look cool but not succeeding, he hurries down the steps to the porch. Looking around quickly to make sure he's alone, he furtively pulls a pack of cigarettes from his coat pocket and lights one. He smokes and stares out across a park in front of him as the daylight slips away. Suddenly he hears a sniffle and spins, worried he's been caught smoking, but it's just Candy, a tiny girl around his own age, wearing glasses with her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She sits on the floor, scooted up against the wall in the corner, and wipes a hand across her eyes. She's been crying.
Sorry, miss. I didn't see you there.
He makes no move to put out the cigarette, realizing she's another kid. Candy scrambles to her feet, trying to hold her dress down modestly.
I'm sorry, I was just leaving.
You were here first. I can find another place
They both hear the bang of a door slamming upstairs and a scuffle.
to hide from my parents.
His embarrassment is clear, but Candy is kind and sympathetic.
No, you stay. I'm hiding from this whole rotten day myself.
You want to smoke?
He extends the pack toward her, awkward, not a kid who knows how to talk to girls.
No, thank you.
She walks closer, joining him at the rail as they look out over the park, saying nothing. Exterior park, next day. Johnny and Candy walk through the park, talking, their book bags still slung over their shoulders from school. They haven't gone home yet, drawing it out as long as they can. In the daylight, you can see Candy's bright copper hair. It's her best feature.
I can say the right answer, but I get stuck writing it. Mama gets so mad at me, and Papa says I'm not trying.
My folks don't even look at my grades. Too busy fighting with each other, except sometimes they take a break to yell at me.
Candy nods sympathetically.
I hear them sometimes.
I skipped a grade last year, and all my pop had to say was, "Good. You can finish faster, get a job, and pay your own way."
I wish mine would fight with each other, but they just gang up on me. And now that I have to repeat the 9th grade, it's even worse. I wish I was smart, like you.
Don't say that. You're smart. Maybe you're just better at talking. You could be a movie star like Audrey Hepburn. They don't have to write.
She smiles at him, feeling understood. As they walk away, he steps a little closer to her, letting his hand touch hers as they walk. She is the one who reaches out, lacing her fingers with his. Exterior, park, day. Montage. Johnny and Candy ride their bicycles, fake racing and giggling, almost knocking over a grumpy lady carrying her groceries. Johnny and Candy walk along the path. We can see, but not hear, that she's excitedly telling him a story. Now he's carrying both their book bags. Johnny walks up behind Candy and surprises her with a bouquet of wildflowers he picked for her. She grins from ear to ear. Exterior apartment building, porch, late night. In the dark, Johnny slouches on a chair and his buddies Ernie and Billy sit on the ledge. Ernie looks like a young James Dean. Billy's the chubby kid who uses humor to stay part of the cool gang. They've finagled a couple of bottles of beer and they're getting wasted and laughing like fools.
Hush up. You gotta keep it down or my old man will be out here.
Ernie responds with no change in volume.
Keeping it down low.
The laughter escalates again, and Johnny is just as guilty.
So what's with you and Candy Fartsworth, huh? You find a girl dumb enough to think you're dreamy?
Johnny tries to play it cool in front of the guys.
She's not my girl. We just know each other 'cause she lives here.
She sure acts like she's your girl. It's okay, those dumb ones are a fun time. I'd take her for a ride.
Ernie and Billy cackle, but Johnny is not amused.
Shut up, pig.
Why must I be a teenager in love?
She's not my girl. She's just a dumb kid. I feel sorry for her. Quit busting my chops.
The boys hoot and holler. Ernie laughs so hard he almost falls off the porch and has to catch himself. Above the boys, we see Candy standing at her open window in her nightgown, woken up by all the noise. She says nothing, just quietly slips from view. Interior, apartment building, hallway. Johnny walks up to a door that says 2A quietly, looks around, puts his ear to the door, and then almost falls in as it opens only as wide as the chain will permit. From within, we hear Candy's mother, Vera.
Go home. She doesn't want to see you. She's leaving for boarding school tomorrow. You come back here again, I'm telling your father.
Looking defeated, Johnny hurries away. The soft music in the background changes from 1960s music to 1980s. Interior, office, day. A professor's office that overlooks a park not unlike the one from the first part of our story. It's cluttered with books, binders, and papers in a semi-organized state of chaos. Johnny, 25 years older with less hair, sits at the desk, zoning out as he looks out the window at the park beyond. He has a half-graded paper in front of him, marked up with the red pen he's idly twirling in his hand. Framed diplomas decorate the wall, but no personal pictures. It's the office of someone whose work is his entire life. He sighs and pulls open a desk drawer, extricating a much-folded newspaper. Over his shoulder, we see the story on the page. It's about a new school for children with learning disabilities. There's a picture of a woman leaning over a child's shoulder at a desk and pointing at her work. Her head is turned to the child she's teaching, but we can see her copper hair and her profile. The caption reads, "Victoria Farnsworth has devoted her life to helping children read and succeed." Johnny extracts his wallet from his jacket pocket and opens it, pulling out a faded picture of himself and Candy taken in an old-time photo booth. He puts the picture next to the newspaper photo, studying it. Then he looks back to the text of the article and finds the school's phone number at the end. He looks over to the phone, an old-fashioned rotary style, and picks up the receiver, then puts it down, gets up, paces around the office for a bit, sits back down, looks at the phone as though it is a monster he has to do battle with. Then he picks it up and begins to dial. A receptionist answers, sounding elegant and professional.
Farnsworth Institute, how may I help you?
Exterior, park, day. The park from Johnny's childhood. He walks with Victoria, who is the picture of glam, professional 1980s elegance, heels, shoulder pads, huge sunglasses, and big copper-colored hair.
So, Victoria's your real name? I never knew that.
I began using my middle name in graduate school. Nobody trusts a girl named Candy with anything more than their lunch order.
They both laugh.
Well, you showed them.
I did. My mother still doesn't believe it, thinks I slept with my professors to get through school.
Was boarding school any better?
Victoria stiffens and scowls.
Eastvale. My experience there is what inspired me to open my own school. I knew there was a better way than beatings.
I'm so sorry. I went into education myself. I liked the challenge of working with different kinds of thinkers. But that wasn't what it was like when we were kids. At that time...
He shakes his head, remembering. Victoria nods.
The world wasn't very kind.
Well, I wasn't either. To you. I want to apologize. I know you overheard me talking to my buddies, and that's why you stopped talking to me. I felt bad about it ever since.
They come to a bench and both sit down, Johnny taking a moment to awkwardly decide how close he ought to sit.
We were teenagers, and teenagers don't handle their emotions well. I forgive you. You were a really good friend to me.
I wish I'd had the courage to ask you out. Would you have said yes?
A long pause while she considers her answer.
I would have. But I'm glad it didn't happen. I don't think that's what you really wanted.
Johnny is confused and upset at her response.
No, it's exactly what I wanted. I never forgot you. I never found anybody else. I've been trying to find you for years.
Victoria takes his hand in hers, but in a comforting way. She watches the kids playing in the park for a long moment before she turns back to him.
I used to hear your parents arguing. It was easy to hear everything in that old building.
He looks ashamed, thinking of how she overheard him with his friends. But that's not where she's going with this.
Your parents had a big fight when your dad found your sketchbook. Do you remember that?
Johnny turns red, humiliated, and we're back in 1961. Interior, Candy's apartment, bedroom. Candy kneels on her bed, her ear to the wall, listening with a worried look on her face. We hear a crash and a thud and Johnny's father's voice, yelling so loud we hear every word.
What is this crap? What are you, a faggot? Answer me!
We hear only mumbling and then more crashing sounds. Candy pulls away from the wall and curls up with her knees to her chest. Cut back to exterior park, day. Johnny jumps to his feet, dropping Victoria's hand, agitated at the memory.
He didn't know what he was talking about. I like to draw. It was just art.
It was what you thought about. It wasn't me that you were thinking about, John.
He looks away, not wanting to talk about this. Really, not even wanting to think about this. Defensive.
But I'm not. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not like that. I wanted to get married. I just never met the right woman except for you.
You really wanted me? To love me, hold me, have me in your house and in your bed? Or you wanted your friend, frozen in time like when we were teenagers?
What's the difference? We would have grown up to be more.
Victoria shakes her head.
No, we wouldn't.
She brings her hand up in front of her and he sees she's wearing a wedding ring. Johnny nods his head, sheepish. Of course, someone this beautiful wouldn't be alone.
Who's the lucky guy?
Her name is Emily. She's an artist.
This floors Johnny, who just stares, not quite comprehending. He paces over to stand underneath a tree. After a moment, Victoria follows him.
You know, I let my dad think you were my boyfriend. He hoped I'd get married since I clearly wasn't smart enough to earn a living. And I felt comfortable with you. Safe. I knew you weren't going to try anything.
She looks over at Johnny, but he's staring out into the park, very still, struggling with his memories and his own emotions.
If you want to talk, you have my number. It was good seeing you again.
She starts to walk away.
Wait.
Johnny's shoulders slump, remembering, and he gives up.
I didn't want Ernie to think we were a thing. I thought he was so cool. And he liked me enough that But then he said he'd beat me up if I ever told. I never told anybody anything. Ever.
Would you like to tell me?
He looks at the kids playing and then he looks back at her, relief spreading across his face. She reaches out her hand and he takes it as they walk off down the path.